daughter-in-law out of your house? How do you expect to have a relationship with your son if you keep going after his wife? Like, I don't understand why all of these stories with mother-in-laws targeting their daughter-in-laws. Why? My gosh, these stories are crazy. Happy apple picking day. For those of our new friends that are very confused and have no idea what we're talking about, people send in stories to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple, where they're not sure if they acted appropriately or not. We read them and we form opinions. Were they a good apple, a bad apple, or a crab apple? I'll tell you guys my opinions. You let me know yours down in the comments, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, and sometimes we make each other think about different perspectives. We all come from different branches of the apple tree, and we never yell or shame someone for not experiencing something or not knowing something. We talk civilly. And sometimes we just agree to disagree, and that's okay. So, without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking! Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for hating the expensive birthday cake my mom got me? I, 21 female, will be turning 22 at the end of August. Cake is basically my personality and my passion. Having my own cake business is what inspired me to go study food at university and work in the food industry. Everyone knows that this tea room bakery that's well known in Northern England is one of my favorite places ever. Today, while me and my mom were out shopping, we went to that bakery, which again is my favorite, just to have a look while we were in town. I was looking at a display while my mom went off and just bought a cake for my birthday without saying anything about it, really. Apparently, this was to be my birthday cake. She was kind of complaining to me about it, that it was 25 euros, which is a lot for a cake, and I agree. It was expensive, and I felt so grateful until I saw what my mom got me when we got home. It was a fruitcake. My entire life, I have always hated fruitcake, and my family knows this. Or at least they should if they ever listen to the things that I say that I like and don't like. I've specifically told my mom this for years, that I do not like fruitcake. And the reason it always comes up is because it's always at family events for things like Christmas, and I always say no thank you. I don't want a piece of fruitcake because I hate fruitcake. I just feel hurt because it feels like my mom doesn't know me at all and doesn't even take the time to understand the things that I like versus don't like when I verbally say them out loud all the time. Feels like the only person in the world that she actually cares about is her new partner, the one she cheated on my dad with and split up our family for. I feel guilty because I know it was an expensive cake, but I'm so angry because when I told her, hey, you know I don't like fruitcake, she started gaslighting me saying, well, it's better than nothing. You should be grateful, and there was no other cake options in the store. Which is an utter lie, because I was there and saw all the other cakes that were there. I know it's a stupid thing to be upset over, and there are way worse things to be upset about, but honestly, this just kind of feels like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. So, was I the bad apple for bringing it up and fighting with her about it? Okay, this is one of those situations where I have an opinion, but I don't think I would have acted the same way, if that makes sense. I totally understand this idea and this mentality of my mom clearly doesn't listen to me, she doesn't pay attention to me, she got me something that she likes, because it says in like the comments that the mom likes fruitcake, but she didn't think to get me something that I like. Like, I know people like that. I know people out there who, when they buy presents for others, they're really buying them for themselves. I know people in our family like that. And you know what? It is what it is. For me, it's not something that I choose to get upset about. I think it's valid to be upset about that kind of thing, but it's just not something that I choose to be upset about. It's also one of the reasons that Avery just hates gifts in general. Avery and I, especially Avery, he tries to be very thoughtful when it comes to presents, okay? Like, he wants to really pay attention to what people say they like, what they don't like, what they need, something that they complain about, like, oh, my toaster sucks, I hate my toaster, it never worked, blah, 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 blah. Then Avery will like keep it in mind that, oh, his birthday's coming up, we should get them a toaster. Like that kind of stuff. Avery doesn't like when people buys him presents because it's never as thoughtful when Avery tries to buy people presents, if that makes sense. So like he's just kind of like, don't give me anything, I'll just get whatever I want for myself. So I definitely know that it's a thing that some people do that. Like mom clearly likes fruitcake, so she buys her daughter a fruitcake for her birthday. Totally understand being frustrated and stressed out about it. I don't know if I would have picked a fight about it, only because like I'm also not very, I don't want to say materialistic, because I feel like that sometimes has a negative connotation to it, and I think it's very valid to like want a cake that you like for your birthday and to be upset when someone goes out of their way to get something that they like that they know that you don't. I think it's equally as valid to be frustrated that like you're continuing to voice that you don't like something and your family just won't hear that about you. Like they just choose to not care. It's totally valid to be upset about that. My family really likes to celebrate birthdays, and I love to celebrate birthdays. I love to celebrate Avery's birthday because I like celebrating, oh, you're here and I'm happy that you're here and blah, 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 blah. But I'm also not I want this kind of cake and this is what we're gonna wear and everyone's gonna celebrate me. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I want everyone to get together and have a good time and hang out, but I'm not very, these are the things that need to happen, if that makes sense. Which some people just like celebrating their birthdays very specific ways. Some people don't, like to each their own, you know? So would I have picked a fight over the cake? Probably not. I probably wouldn't have said anything. I might make like a joke about it. Like, oh, are you gonna get yourself a fruit cake for my birthday again? Like next year? Like to poke fun. But I wouldn't like get mad about it or anything like that, I guess. I feel like my family, we like to joke and mess with each other and like we pick with each other, but I wouldn't personally feel strong enough to be like angry about it. So I'm gonna go good apple because I think that all of her frustrations about it are valid, and I do think that a lot of the anger is coming from, like she mentions, oh, well, all she cares about is the guy that she's with that split up our family, and I think that a lot of anger is coming from that because it has nothing to do with the cake, but it was still mentioned. But that doesn't mean I don't think it's valid for her to be frustrated and feel underappreciated and voice that about her birthday situation. So I'm going good apple for that. Now, I'm hoping that she didn't like start screaming about the cake. I think that might be like a little uncalled for. Like, yes, it was selfish or careless, one or the other. I don't know enough about the situation to know one way or another. But I wouldn't scream at someone for that. So, but like she didn't say that she did. I'm just hoping that's not the case, you know? Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for humiliating my wife at a restaurant? My wife and I, in our 30s, dine out every once in a while, but not too often because of my wife's annoying habit that she inherited from her family. She always complains and sends food back if it's not absolutely perfect and makes needless requests and substitutions that she doesn't have allergies or anything for. She's just a very complicated and kind of problematic customer. It can easily take 5 minutes just for her to order her own food. It's that bad. And sometimes I've already finished my meal by the time she gets her food because she just keeps sending it back. I know restaurant staffs don't appreciate it, and I've tried talking to her about this, but she doesn't think there's anything wrong with it. Anyways, we make a decent amount of money and we use our combined funds on dates and dinners. So I recently started writing in what my wife does on the receipt and then calculating it as extra money for a tip in addition to the normal gratuity that I would have given, just to compensate for her behavior. So to a receipt I might add, ask 5 questions about a single menu item, plus $5. Ask for a new drink because this one had too much ice in it, plus $5. Sent meal back even though it was exactly what she ordered, plus $5. She didn't notice me doing it the first 2 or 3 times, but last night she noticed I was spending a lot of time writing on the receipt and asked me why. I was never hiding it or anything, so I just showed her what I was writing. She flipped out. She's been so mad at me since, saying that I embarrassed her in front of the staff. I told her, I didn't have to embarrass you. You've been doing that on your own by being such a Karen at restaurants. Maybe I'm being petty, I don't know, but I'm just trying to give back to the wait staff who are being brutalized by her on a daily basis. So, was I the bad apple? I feel like this one could have mixed reviews, but I think that's kind of funny. I don't know the extent of what she does, but like if she's really going over the top and you're feeling like the staff is getting frustrated or agitated or anything like that, but I don't feel like there's anything wrong with giving servers extra money if that's what you want to do with your money. Like, it's your money, you can do whatever you want with it. I'm trying to think back to when I was a server. If I was a server and I was having a table that required a little extra TLC, and then I got a receipt that like itemized inconveniences and was like, here's some extra money. Like, I would giggle. I'd be like, okay, that's a cool family, and I would really appreciate that. I wouldn't be focusing on the wife. That's not what I would remember. I would remember like, okay, that table knew that they were like a little bit difficult, but they were funny about it, and like they paid me, and that's awesome. But I also understand that sometimes like we overthink our experiences. Like,
oh, I tripped and fell at this restaurant. Did they see me trip and fall? Are they thinking about it? Are they making fun of me? Are they like, am I a joke now? Can I never go back there?
we overthink. Part of me kind of is seeing the husband's perspective. Again, I don't know the extent of this, but if you are brutalizing wait staff like he says she is, then yeah, that's embarrassing. I don't understand how then further compensating wait staff for that would add to the embarrassment. Like, to me, I feel like that would make the situation better and make you look like less of a jerk for whatever it is you're doing to the wait staff. I honestly think that's the right thing to do. Like, it would be so much worse if she just brutalized wait staff and then they just left. Like, you're trying to make it up to them kind of thing. Like, am I missing something? I feel like if your husband is telling you, hey, you're not treating wait staff appropriately, and you're like,
no, it's fine. I can do what I want. It's not a big deal.
then like, why are you getting upset that he's then compensating for the behaviors that you're refusing to stop? And she's just like, kind of ignoring it. Like, that's, So I don't see anything wrong with him paying them extra. And I actually think that itemizing it like that makes the whole situation a whole lot lighter, in my opinion. Like, I might be missing something, and maybe I'm not looking at it from the right lens. I've never tried to be rude to waitstaff in my life. Like, I can't really get in that headspace. I would hope that if you're rude to a waitress that you would then feel bad and embarrassed about it. Like, don't treat people that way. I feel like it should be that easy. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna go good apple. Maybe I'm missing something. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments. As always, I don't always get to respond to everything, but I do read as much as I can, and I like scroll and read what you guys say. So there's definitely, I feel like there's something I'm missing. Like, there's something in the back of my brain that's like, no, there's a perspective that you're missing, and I just can't put my finger on it, if that makes sense. Or maybe I'm just being paranoid. I don't know. It's been a long day. You guys let me know. Be my subconscious. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for not wanting my husband's mother at our child's birthday? My husband and I have been married for 22 years, together for 23. I didn't come to meet his mother until our firstborn child was 3 months old. That was a disaster in itself. Many things have happened with her to convince me that I don't want to be around her. From not keeping personal boundaries, to abusing my animals, to making plans about my home that she would like to do to it. There's way too much to put on this one post. Every time this woman has come over, I've needed to self-medicate. My husband makes comments about me overreacting, but I tell him, listen, I either self-medicate or I put his mother in his place or just flat out kick her out of our house. He's agreed that self-medicating would be the better option because he just wants everyone to get along and just coexist. However, is that really the option? Should I have to self-medicate just so that she can be breathing the same air as me? I don't think that's fair at all. So tomorrow's our daughter's birthday. He said that he'll be picking his mother up and wanted to know what time we should be doing everything. I told him, hey, your mom doesn't really need to go. I mean, she hasn't even really been a part of our child's lives until recently. She's never mailed a card, she's never done a phone call. Nothing. Our child didn't even know their father had a mother until she was moving here. That should tell you a lot. The reason I don't want her here is because she drives my anxiety to a whole new level. I begin to shake, I become physically ill, I'll start to dry heave and everything. I just haven't had any positive encounters with her at all. Shouldn't I be able to enjoy our daughter's day without that toxic stress? Is that really fair? It's not as though she she gave birth to her or even supported her in any way. So I don't want her there. Am I missing something here that I'm just not seeing? Am I the bad apple? I have an opinion, but I'm very stressed out about it being a good one. I don't know if I really have enough information. Like, all the self-medicate is all in quotations, like self-medicate. I don't know what that means. And again, it might just be the exhaustion, but for some reason I'm again having like this nagging feeling like there's something that I'm missing. But I'm thinking between crab apple and bad apple right now, and here's why, okay? Your whole thing is that you don't want your mother-in-law there because you don't like her, you don't have a good relationship with her, and you feel like that you should be able to enjoy your daughter's birthday. Your daughter's birthday. Now hold on, because I know the keyboard warriors are already starting to type about how she said she abuses the animals. I'm gonna get there. Just hold on. This is your child's birthday. It's not yours. It's not your event. This is your child's. Unless the child has specifically said, I don't want grandma there. Grandma makes me feel unsafe. I don't like grandma. Grandma makes me feel bad. Or unless you have seen grandma hurt child, speak poorly to child, speak ill of child. Like, I haven't seen any of that in the story. Without that, I don't think you really have a leg to stand on to say,
No, sorry, I've decided grandma doesn't need to be in your life.
That's not your mom. Your child has two parents, you know, like you and your husband. And if your husband wants his mother to be a part of his child's life, unless again we have any of those examples that I gave a second ago, I think it's fair for grandma to be in her life. And again, just hear me out for a second. I know that you're gonna get to the anxiety and trauma, but hold on. I don't think you not having positive encounters with her justifies.
Well, like, she's only recently taken an interest in the kid, and I don't like her, so she just doesn't need to come around, you know?
I don't think that's your call, really. Now, I do think it's your call whether you are around her or not, because again, you haven't said anything about her treating the child poorly, your husband poorly, none of that. It's just you and her. I think it's 100% valid to tell an in-law, if you cannot respect me, then you cannot come into my house. If you are harming my animals, you cannot come into my house. If you're messing with my house in any way, shape, or form, you are not welcome at my house. I think that's perfectly justified. But at the same time, like, I think it's unacceptable that your husband has also let her treat you in the way that you say that she's treating you. So now I'm contradicting myself. Well, it's not really contradicting myself. I'm literally like thinking through the story and the reasoning and the rationale on camera. Like, I already know people in the comments are gonna be like, what are you doing? Like, just like you guys get to sit there at your keyboards and think about things like before you type them, I'm literally thinking them out loud with you all. And sometimes I have an initial thought and then I talk about it and say it out loud and I'm like, actually, I don't agree with that point. That's called growth. So let me go back. Okay. See, I think there's a lot that I'm missing though. Like, okay, I'm leaning away from bad apple because if she's really just downright disrespecting you like you're saying, I 100% think that husband should step in. Definitely think that husband should step in, 100%. So I don't think it's wrong of you to not want her there. Okay, I have seen grandparents speak illy of parents to children, and I know how detrimental that can be for a household. I don't like that. I don't agree with it. Not a fan. I still don't know if I would agree with banning her from being in the kids' life. This is hard. Like, I don't have kids, so I don't know what appropriate boundaries for that kind of stuff is. This is your kid, but it's also your husband's kid, and it's also your husband's mom. Like, I don't know what the appropriate boundaries for this are. I 100% see the ideas and the reasonings of, if you're gonna be disrespectful to me, you cannot come around, you cannot come to my home, you cannot speak illy of me to my child. Like, I think all of these are very valid reasonings, and I don't like husband not standing up for her. On the other hand, I can also see the idea of, like,
well, she doesn't really need to come and be a part of because she's only recently cared enough to be a part of.
I think that's a poor reason to say, oh no, you don't need to come to the birthday party. Like, she's only recently cared about taking an interest. Well, she's taking an interest. I think that is a poor reason to deprive your child of having a grandparent. And I didn't see anything about her speaking illy of you to your kid or anything like that. And if that's not happening and the kid doesn't even know that there's bad blood, I don't know how I feel about you denying your husband having his mom know his child. Like if there's no dangers and there's no threat and it's all 100% kept away from the child, I don't know. Like again, I don't know what these boundaries usually are. So maybe I'll go crabapple because I think the feelings are valid, but I don't like some of the reasonings that were listed, and I don't know if I agree with the idea. I don't really know how to feel about this. Like I don't have this experience. Like I think I would also be very upset and frustrated, but I don't know what I would do, and I also don't know what would be appropriate, because like I'm not gonna pretend like I always make the right choices. I'm not gonna pretend like I never make a mistake. You know, I'm a human being. Sometimes I act with emotion before I think about it. It happens to all of us. So I'm gonna go crabapple because I'm very unsure and hesitant about this, and I would love to know what you guys think. Parents and grandparents, people with children, people who don't get along with in-laws, like I would love to know your thoughts. I would love to know what you would do. I would love to know what you think about these boundaries, because this is not something Avery and I have ever had to deal with, you know? Don't yell at me, I don't have kids, I don't know anything about this stuff. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for kicking my daughter-in-law out of my house? So I'm a young mother-in-law. I'm only like 39. I had my kids pretty young, and I'm very lucky that my husband makes a lot of money, so I don't have to work. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time, and once they started to spread their wings instead of going to work, my husband and I decided that I should be a homemaker and be active in our community. That's what I've been up to, and I try to make the community a better place. Now, my oldest son at 22 married, and I was so excited to have a daughter-in-law until I met her. In general, she's a very business-focused person and is very blunt. I actively dislike her, but I always try to be polite for my son's sake. A few examples of why I don't like her. Her wedding gift that I gave to her, it said on the card it was from me and my husband, and she literally said back to me,
"Oh, I know this is really just from your husband, since it's not your money that paid for anything."
That was so rude for no reason. Whenever I talk about volunteering at an animal shelter, a homeless shelter, anything that I'm doing at the time, she always just for some reason tells me,
"That's not a real job. I mean, it doesn't make any money."
It's passive aggressive, and yes, I've talked to my son about it, and once I've even tried to sit her down and talk about it just to clear the air, but nothing's changed. We had a get together last night, and I made a homemade meal. When I was setting everything out, she came up to me and made a comment saying,
"No wonder you get to make a home-cooked meal like this. I mean, it's not like you do anything else during the day."
That's when I lost it. I told her she either needs to respect me or get the heck out of my house. She was shocked and just stood there and then started to cry. I ended up just asking her to leave. My son is pissed off at me, and we had a huge argument about it, and he called me a huge jerk. I don't know what to do at this point, and I need an outside opinion. Was I the bad apple? Oh, I definitely judged the situation incorrectly. No, but did she say she's passive aggressive? No, she's like aggressive. Like she is outwardly mean. Who just walks up to their significant other's family members and just insults them to their face? That's rude. That's so mean. I feel like there is a group of people in younger generations. I say younger generations, I mean like even people my age and younger who, and it's not everybody. I don't ever make absolute statements, and it's not even a majority. I think it's a very small percent of people, but there's this idea that some people have of like looking down on stay-at-home moms and homemakers and people who are active in the community, like anyone that isn't physically contributing money to their household, like they look down on them, and I'm not here for it. I don't like it. I think that different people have different goals and focuses in life. Some women want to go to work and become the head of their field, and they want to become leaders and take over the world. And I think that's great. I think that's fine. I think that they should do that. And there are other women who want to go to work and just want to do their job and come home, and they're perfectly fine not getting to the top, and they just want to do what they do and come home, and they're perfectly fine doing average things. Like, that's okay. And then there are other women whose sole goal is to get married and become a mom, and they want to stay home and they want to take care of their kids, and that's fine. And then there are other women who ideally want to be able to find someone who can provide for them and they don't have to work, and I think that's also fine. Like, everyone has different goals. I personally want to take over the world, but that's okay. Just because someone has different dreams than me does not mean they're not valid, and doesn't mean they're not good for them. It's not my business what some other woman wants to do with her time. And I think making any person, not just woman, but person, feel bad about not even just their goals and aspirations, but like what they have decided is best for their family, that's none of your business. What is wrong with you? If she and her husband decided, look, we want you to be a stay-at-home mom, great, that's their family situation, that's best for their family, you do you. I'm glad you're happy with it. If her and her husband decides, look, I would rather you go and volunteer and make a difference in the world rather than go to work, like, we make enough money, you go help people who are less fortunate. I think that is amazing. To me, that is a very commendable kind of mentality of, we have enough, why don't we use our time better and go help people who don't? That is, to me, very selfless and very kind, and I think that's awesome. So to actively go out of your way to put someone down for not only doing what their family has decided is best for them, but for wanting to make that kind of difference. Who makes fun of someone for volunteering? That's gross behavior. Gross behavior. And I don't know exactly like everything that she's doing when she's volunteering, but sometimes that can be a lot of work. A lot of work. So to just say, well, you don't really do much during your day, like, every minute that you're doing something like that makes such a difference, and it's so important, and we need more people to do it. So actively putting down people who are choosing to spend their time that way, like, I hate that. I hate it. And you know, just like I said in the earlier story, if your in-law is actively choosing to be rude to you, I think it's very valid to say, if you can't respect me in my home, you can't come to my home. So I'm going to go good apple, because I 100% feel like you should be able to feel safe and comfortable in your own home. And if someone is coming to your home and actively putting you down, no. I wholeheartedly believe in not allowing people who degrade you into your home. Like, you should never be made to feel unsafe in your own home. And I don't mean just physically, I mean like mentally and emotionally as well. So I'm going good apple, and I can't really see anyone changing my mind on that. I just can't imagine a perspective where I would. Like, this one, I didn't have the nagging feeling that I'm missing something. I'm like, no, I feel pretty good about this one. Yeah. All right, so I got 3 good apples and a crab apple, and I 100% think there's gonna be a lot of people who disagree with all of my reasonings, because there are a few that I really struggled with getting in the mindset. Whether the stories are just a little weird today, or whether I'm just on the struggle bus. You know, we all have off days, and I think it's very important to be honest and open about that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, no one's perfect. Like, I make mistakes, I have off days, like, it's a thing, it's okay. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't. I'll be honest about that in videos. So let me know down in the comments what you guys got. Did you get the same as me? Did you get different? Why did you get different? I love to read your reasonings, I really do. And for your well wishes today, we had a lot of stories about birthdays today, so I specifically want to wish some well wishes off to anyone that might have a birthday this week. I hope you guys have the best birthday. I hope you do anything that you want, whether it's making a big stink about your birthday or not doing anything at all, whatever it is. I hope you get exactly what you want and have the best time ever. Just know that you're loved. That's the important part. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see y'all next week. Bye bye, lovelies. Mwah.